Montreal always had very busy and thriving and cross-pollination of a music scene, always, since the jazz days.
Most people are just willing to stand by and watch, and that's really what they want to do. They don't know where to start, or they just want to be entertained, or it's something they're going to do for a short period of time. And that was the most fun about back in the days, because everybody was, as much as they were bitching about nothing was going on, they actually wanted to actually do something.
Back then there wasn't a lot of venues, like the places to play, you had to be a cover band. There was not really many venues for playing original music.
Venues would just close down really, really quickly, or just because of lack of interest. It was so tiny. Punk rock was considered, the antithesis of what was going on then, which was still the peace and love stuff, A lot of the hippies or the people our age that were trying to carry on the whole hippie thing looked at us and just went, no, it's all wrong. It's negative, and you're trying to destroy everything that we're working so hard to do. They just completely didn't get it,
It was impossible to play anywhere. Like I said about them trying to use a band's practice space to put on a band from England.
Where the first time venues here?
Well, there weren't any.
Well, there was one called 364 St. Paul, which was just simply named after the address on St. Paul. And it was a broken down storefront. It was the only venue. I think some university students put it together. A lot of art students and poetry students too got in on it, and they would have poetry things there along with the punk rock, and people were merciless to the poetry because everybody wanted to rock out.
You have to find these little places. Scottish Hall was like a social center for Scottish people. I remember one of the first gigs I went to see with the guys I ended up playing in a band, like their previous band, was at it was called the Polish Hall. It's now Café Campus. But at that time it was this like Polish community had this big hall for, I don't know what they would do, but they were looking to get money. You'd rent them out, basically. And they would have a bar, and they'd make the money from the bar, and you could charge whatever you want at the door. But you just do these gigs wherever you could.
That was about the only place that would tolerate shows like that.
Where do we have a crucifix in that?
And McGill did one at the McGill Ballroom, but that ended really badly. So pretty much all the schools said no way. But we used
and badly means
broken bottles, broken furniture, beer all over the place.
Punk rock was getting a lot of bad press for the violence at the shows, and sometimes you would get people trying to just mimic what they read about, by throwing beer bottles and spitting on bands. They used to do that to us. We'd have bottles hurtling by us while we're playing and all that.
Just your typical shambles. But the first thing that we got involved, DOA was going to play here, and these older hippies contacted us. They had a place over on Saint Laurent, just off Saint Laurent in Saint Dominic. It was a little warehouse they were going to use. And they wanted our help in getting people to turn out for it, and they were going to put Scum on the bill in return for it. And that was the kind of venue you had.
Yeah.
An abandoned industrial space with no sprinklers, and nobody knows you're there. It's illegal.
Qu'embrassant lors des 10 points, ils ont rencontré Satan.
But we trolled up and down Saint Laurent Boulevard, going into bars on Thursday and Friday nights looking for a place with nobody. And we found a place with a guy and just his buddies drinking at half price. And we asked him, how'd you like to have 100 people in here next Friday night? And no bar owner says no the first time.
There was no internet, there was no weeklies even, there was no Voir, there was no Mirror, Montreal Mirror.
Je me rappelle qu'à l'époque, j'entendais juste des mièvreries. Même la scène locale, je trouvais ça trop gentil, un peu hippie. Il y avait quelque chose que je trouvais que ça manquait de couilles un peu.
Men Without Hats came out of the same punk rock scene that I did. He was a punk band playing Hotel Nelson before Ivan was in a punk band playing the Hotel Nelson, the same place the Electric Vomit played, before he went electro. To a lot of people, that's the early Montreal sound, the whole electro sound.
If you could get a show on, people were freaked out, jumping up and down, going completely mental because it was something you got to do every couple of months. When it's something you can do every Tuesday night or every Thursday night, it loses its cachet, its hipster, insider value, and people feel a lot more proprietary about it too. This is kind of a fashionable town for some things, so people tend to jump on a bandwagon if it looks popular.
There was a while when it was very frustrating in Montreal, like whenever there was a certain trend of some kind of music from outside, you'd always see a couple of bands popping up in Montreal that had that same sound. Like when the Red Hot Chili Peppers were big, poof, there were a couple of Montreal bands that were kind of sounding, had that funk kind of punk sound, When grunge got big all of a sudden,
je vois pas comme, mettons, à Seattle, dans les années 90, que toutes les bandes sonnaient un peu pareil, puis qu'il y avait vraiment un son, tu sais, je vois pas tant que ça, un son Montréal. Puis je trouve qu'on en parle beaucoup à Montréal, plus que souvent à d'autres places, tu sais, pour avoir voyagé un peu, puis que, ouais, tu sais, le buzz de Montréal, il est beaucoup à Montréal, des fois, je trouve.
Il y a comme une effervescence, il y a des choses qui se passent, mais qu'il n'y a pas une scène. Je pense pas qu'il y ait une scène à Montréal en ce moment. Mais c'est pas important qu'il y en ait une non plus, là. Je dis, il y en a une métal. Comme je dis, la plus grosse scène à Montréal, je suis sûr que c'est la scène métal, parce que au Cité 2000, il y a à peu près 400 locales, puis il y a juste des groupes métal là-dedans.
Tell me when I can pour. Okay. Here you go, Jeremy.
I think that scenes are not created by a sound or bands or communities as much as they are by outside forces calling it something.
There's always these hidden scenes in every city. Maybe what brings a little bit more attention to it, that's the media for sure.
Montreal is the new Brooklyn. Wow, what does it even mean? It's not. It's the same old Montreal that is evolving or devolving or who knows what.
I think that like humans have a tendency to want to categorize things and compartmentalize things. It's like how we work. It would be too chaotic to just treat everything individually or like as individual atoms, But labels like to slap it with a sound because it's easier to brand. Journalists like to do it because it's easier to associate instead of trying to act. It's lazy, really.
L'underground montréalais a toujours été très rock'n'roll, quoique le Québec n'est pas très rock'n'roll. Le Québec est beaucoup plus folk et prog et pop dans ses goûts.
Je pense qu'il y a réellement eu une attention portée vers Montréal, que ça a été créé par les médias nécessairement. T'sais. Mais ça a été fait. Ça n'a pas comme fait qu'il y a eu une scène à Montréal, qu'il y a eu un intérêt vers Montréal, fait qu'il y a eu plein de monde qui est déménagé ici. Parce que le spotlight était sur la ville. Mais ça n'a pas créé un son, ça a juste créé de l'affluence.
Montreal sound, I think there's sounds. There's certainly like a certain bunch of bands that maybe have a similar thing going, or maybe not in sound, but maybe just in spirit or whatever.
As far as more organic guitar-oriented music is concerned, there could be a kind of a sound. I mean, but I'm living in a small pocket. Try and have your own sound, The great thing about the punk bands is they didn't sound really much like anything else, and that was sort of the idea of if you had your own band, try and have your own sound,
Being here, I don't really feel like I'm partaking in a lot of the culture that goes on here, and when I do, I feel like there's a lot of presentation of really like homogenized culture.
Il y a une scène indie pop à Montréal.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go and it was straight. Don't go home and play that game. When we played was a silly.
I don't know. I think people come here in Montreal and really are inspired by the whole scene that was created, let's say, like in the papers, whatnot. And people just have a terrible work ethic here. So we're lazy. We just sit around and we think a lot and we're like, do it tomorrow. And I think that helps in a way, the music.
That was definitely the impetus to come to a city where there was culture in art and music and people were more focused on that rather than, nature and everything else, which is fine, but it's not conducive to what we wanted out of the music scene.
Non, Valleyfield, je veux dire, moi, fallait que je parte de là pour plein de raisons. Là. Puis c'était juste logique d'aller à Montréal parce que c'est tout près, parce que c'est probablement la ville la plus intéressante au Canada pour ça.
Il n'y avait pas vraiment rien d'intéressant là-bas, je te dirais. Mais tu sais, c'est du bon monde, là. Mais pour moi, je pouvais pas atteindre le paroxysme intellectuel que j'atteins à Montréal présentement. Non, pas tant que ça, mais...
On était cœur Chicoutimi, puis parce qu'il se passait plus grand chose justement côté musique là, c'était rendu le monde commençait à travailler, les locales, moins en moins de monde dans les locales de musique, puis là on va venir à Montréal ça recommence à zéro.
Here, I mean, you can get by with like $600 a month. You can live, and so that's why there's such a wealth of musicians here. That's part of it, I think. The lower cost of living is so conducive to the arts in general because the arts is a leisure time activity, and when everybody has more leisure time, well, it's good for us and good for them. And, yeah. I think for myself, if I was to speak with complete and utter candor, I think the main motivating force and the main thing that keeps me pushing and keeps me writing songs and working so hard is a bottomless need for the attention of others. It just seems like I can never get enough of that, and then the more I get, the more I need. And, there is, of course, like a desire for self-expression. But yeah, the real main motive is like attention. Like I think so, because like I was never very popular in school, and now I think it's like a makeup session. It's like therapy, making up for being a little dweeb in school.
Everyone has it. Everyone has some form of a demon that lives inside of them.
This is a tradition.
You don't have to do that. Cheers, everybody.
It's good beer, too. Whoever said.
I love my dad! You don't really know what the song is all about until you're standing on stage, and it's coming through amps and speakers and everything else, and there are people staring at you while you're doing it or dancing to you while you're doing it. Yeah, and you're like, okay, well this works. It is a song.
partir du moment que le show commence, là, c'est tranquillement, là, ça s'en va vers... il n'y a plus de service pour le numéro que vous avez proposé. Là. Genre, tu sais, comme...
Ces gens, tu vas les chercher un par un dans la salle, tu sais, des fois comme un show, mettons, on fait un show.
Non, mais tu sais, j'ai envie
En
qu'il
Europe,
se
qu'il y a une
passe
place
quelque
qui ne connaît
chose.
pas, puis là, il y a deux personnes qui parlent dans le corps d'avaler les poignets. Hey, il y a un show, ça, là.
C'est sûrement en partie pour ça que je fais de la musique, tu sais. Parce que j'ai beaucoup d'énergie, puis de frustration, puis de plein d'affaires à sortir. Devant les gens, là, au moins, là, que je peux juste rien faire, puis que tout le monde comprend.
What is it about Montreal that is like a definitively motherfucker?
That's going in. Do you want to wipe yourself off a little bit?
Am I sweating, schwitzing like a pig? Fucking. A word like underground. You'll probably get multiple definitions by people what underground is. There's a lot of people that walk around thinking if you use the term underground as attached to a cultural scene or music making, it means, for some, music that has not enough popular appeal to become commercially successful or aesthetically pleasing to a large multitude of people, and that it's relegated to a niche market of people who are never going to make a career, make money, what have you.
On a réalisé là, avec le temps, on a comme un peu checké tout ça. Là. C'est quoi on a vu c'est quoi la business, là, comment ça marche un peu, puis tout ça. Puis je pense qu'on a envie de revenir un peu encore, vraiment à faire nos choses par nous-mêmes encore plus. Là.
Looking up blogs, looking up, like who's putting out like a little, zine in a town and who's like, what's the radio station. I mean, it takes a lot of work, but yeah, you can do it.
Le futur de l'industrie, indépendante, comme on a dit avant que ça coupe. Ouais, c'est ça. Les petites associations entre les bands, parce que de moins en moins l'industrie est de plus en plus grosse, comme dans la société, là, le gap entre les riches et les pauvres est de plus en plus important. C'est la même affaire.
I read an interview recently where somebody said, in this climate, Muddy Waters couldn't happen. You know, and that resonated in the sense that, yes, it is increasingly less accessible for working class people to enter into music as a given career.
Même des bands qui sont produits, tu sais, qui vont passer à la télé et tout, puis tu te rends compte qu'ils ont fait des tournées, puis tu te rends compte après une couple d'années qu'ils n'ont pas plus une scène dans les poches. Mais tu sais, ce qui est important, c'est justement de garder au moins le lien avec le monde qui écoute la musique, puis pas trop se trahir par rapport à ça, parce que quand l'industrie part, ben toi t'es rendu tout seul, tu sais.
You can also just play really good music and book shows with people that are supporting your music, and it just, you know, I think if you're at this point, if you're like trying to make money playing music, you're fucked. Like you're not doing it for the right reasons. And if you do happen to make some money, it's like Christmas.
Ben, je veux pas être pessimiste, mais mettons dans notre cas, à nous, c'est impossible. C'est clairement.
Aujourd'hui, peut-être.
Peut-être dans une autre époque, dans une dimension parallèle, là, c'est possible, je pense. Mais...
Il y a toujours la chance qu'on soit au bon moment, au bon endroit, comme Nirvana l'a été, admettons. Mais
c'est un exemple.
C'est une chance sur quoi 1000?
Ouais, ben plus.
Ben, c'est ça.
I mean, the rock stars still exist. It's just marketed differently and the whole approach, but there's still bands that explode.
Let's say all of a sudden we had it all, and it's like big world tours. Jets, and like Bono, I can fly my hat to the gig for $10,000. I don't really know if I would want to be in that position. I like a slow release sort of thing and let it grow. Because I mean, really, whether you die famous or not famous, it's about keeping your life interesting and relevant to yourself, right?
On fait jamais vraiment de revenus avec ça. Le seul cash qu'on finit par ramasser à long, c'est que ça va justement payer un peu
le prochain album.
mais c'est comme en même temps à peine parce qu'il y a tout le temps des frais de plus. Fait que c'est plus c'est à la place d'aller faire du crack cocaine à Vancouver, on fait des disques.
C'est ça.
That's why you see so many of these older rock and rollers, like you're shocked that they have no money. You know? Because in your mind you think, I hear that song on the radio all the time. How come Sly Stone is, living in a RV, in the streets of LA or whatever, Because he never made any fucking money. The industry made money.
Pour te donner un exemple drôle, là, quand on a déjà ouvert pour Jello Biafra, okay? C'était au studio Juste pour rire, quelque chose comme ça.
Notre plus gros show à vie, je pense.
OK, on a ouvert pour Jello Biafra, là, puis les billets étaient comme, je sais pas, $20.
Puis il y avait comme...
La salle était pleine à craquer.
1000 personnes.
OK, vous êtes prêts? On a eu $100.
We record, we still, out of our own pockets, we'll pay for recordings of our newest tunes. Whenever we write a new tune, we go, oh man, we got to record it. Especially while it's just been written, because that's the best time to record is when something's still fresh and we're excited about it. So we'll go, every once in a while we'll go pay, we know people who have recording studios or stuff like home studios, and they'll just charge us a small price because they happen to be fans or whatever, or whatever, but it's still money out of our pocket that we can't afford because we're all fucking broke.
Fuck!
Perdu les paroles. Les mêmes accords, ils sont jamais assez forts. Ils ont du peur ou ils sont juste des estimes de filles.
I would just say to any bands who are really focused on finding a label that their focus is in the wrong place. I mean, it's not for any band that thinks that what we got to do is make a demo and then find a label, then the label will help us make it. It's just like it's kind of not a really productive way to think.
Je veux dire, un label, c'est surtout pertinent à mon sens pour relations publiques. C'est plus ça. Parce que c'est quand même, on fait ces marques-là.
If you want an example of how independent label from long ago has persisted and survived. You should talk to Lucas Cooper from Roar. Lucas?
Can you just start off?
Testing, 1, 2.
Whoa. No, that's good.
Lucas Cooper, and I run a little indie record label called Roar. The label started in '79. It was my dad's company, and it started as a cassette-only label. First release was James Chance and the Contortions, Eight-Eyed Spy with Lydia Lunch, then the Dictator's Suicide, New York Dolls, Bad Brains, Flesh Tones, Germs.
It's good to plan ahead. If you're given the opportunity to get one recognized album that's going to make you tour for a year solid, and you're going to walk away with some profit. That is not profit. That is shit you need to invest. This is not like you're living a rock star life. This money's going to be like replenished continually.
I mean, in some ways, I feel like we've gone backwards 20 or 30 years. And I think it's really important for the bands to play great shows. The label, I don't think is really an important part of it, honestly. We're just another facet to the equation that hopefully benefits a band, benefits the art form. Yeah. Otherwise, we're in the way.
With the whole digital thing now, I mean, you just, that's why I was saying CDs are dead. You put out a CD and immediately it's out there for free. So there's no point because you can get it for free. I'm like that. Here you go, it's for free. I'm a martyr. I'm just doing it for you for free. Fuck you. Not gonna happen. So pay me.
Tu connais-tu quelqu'un qui fait son métier pour être pauvre ou tu connais-tu quelqu'un qui pratique un métier en se disant moi je veux pas être payé, je fais juste ça pour le fun. Ben là, c'est pas pareil, un plombier, ça travaille pour vrai. C'est comme, OK, c'est pas travailler pour vrai, faire de la musique. C'est du travail, il faut avoir de la passion pour le faire.
The business side is so incredibly difficult because there just aren't as many record stores, and the nature of it makes it that you have to actually really pay more attention to the numbers side of it, which is, it's not as interesting, that part of it.
I don't think labels are useless, but I think that the model has changed entirely. I think like the idea of them like giving like record advances and making you an overnight success are kind of that's kind of garbage. But they can help you build a team, and and you can be associated with maybe a family of groups or bands that you might want to be associated with.
We've been so affected by the internet and computers and music in terms of the way it's sold, which then reflects the way you're able to do things in the financial realm.
That's also got to bring it back to corporatism and how they manage to track what you like. You like country music? There's a radio station for you. It's also going to sell you Walmart and Toyota or, probably GMC yeah, or Dodge Ram. You like rock and roll? Well, we got a station for you, and it's also going to sell you Budweiser. And so the job of everybody that wants to help in the underground and an independent and a DIY culture thrive is to fuck the idioms around so much that you have no idea anymore, and they don't know what to tell you. And there's so many hyphens, in what they're trying to tag or describe your music as, that it ceases to be of importance, and then you just have to pay attention to what's in front of you. what you're looking at here used to be the green room.
Okay.
I'm trying to block the wind. So this used to be the green room, and upstairs in this door was the main hall. The main hall was a larger venue for touring bands, and the green room was more a small venue for local bands.
What happened here?
Well, there was a doctor. This is a story. I mean, I don't know all the details, but he lived across the alleyway, just one over on Clark, and he didn't like the sound. He didn't like the noise that was coming out of the main hall and green room, so he complained over and over and over again to the city, and they got shut down because of this new what they call Projet Montreal, which is trying to make the city quiet so the yuppies can enjoy it.
Project Noise, yeah.
Yeah, Project Noise.
Il y a des lois qui passent que là, on peut plus faire de bruit après telle heure, puis là, on veut plus de musiciens dans telle place pour pratiquer. Mais graduellement, on va devenir une ville comme les autres villes. Que justement, pourquoi il y a autant de monde qui viennent ici? Parce qu'il y a une recherche artistique, il y a du monde qui vient étudier, il y a du monde qui veulent... Ah, je vais aller à Montréal, je vais me partir un band, je vais rencontrer les bons musiciens avec, c'est ça qui se passe depuis plusieurs années.
This is the Quebec culture. Like, Montreal was dirty for a reason. Montreal was the haven for criminals and, mobsters and everything like that for a reason. This is where people came to find that edge, or to live out that edge. And there's the whole argument like, there's not enough French, not enough French. They're cleaning it up so much, it's starting to look like Ottawa.
À l'époque où c'était pas à la mode d'habiter en ville, quand t'étais riche, t'allais en banlieue ou à Outremont, c'était abordable d'habiter sur le plateau. Maintenant, il faut que tu pognes un bon deal ou un échange de logement avec quelqu'un d'autre qui en quitte un. Mylan aussi. C'est que c'était des gens qui avaient... Le quartier était vraiment bohème, dans le sens que c'était pas un endroit où tu avais des bars et des cafés bohèmes, mais les gens habitaient là. Ouh, le plateau, c'est in. C'était in, le plateau, parce que c'était le fun. Maintenant, c'est in, pas parce qu'il y a des sushis que c'est le fun.
If you move to the city, don't expect it to be... You're not in the woods, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
there's going to be noise from the street, from your neighbors, from a club at the corner, so you kind of have to be realistic about it.
What was Main Hall? Is Main Hall that got shut down?
Yeah, with Green Hill under it, yeah.
What the hell was that? I think that was the biggest, that was the biggest eye-opener when that happened, because everyone, that was the step up. Main Hall was where, you put out a good record, and then people notice it, and you're like, let's do a launch. You went to the Main Hall. It was the comfortable middle ground, and that's where you saw, the Wolf Parades. That's where you saw Think About Life. That's where you saw all the up-and-coming Montreal bands when you knew there was a buzz somewhere else. And to see that one go was the beginning of the end, really. That was one of the first ones, I think.
Most of the places that we used to play at and I used to go see shows at don't exist anymore.
Il y a un gros problème de reconnaissance pour que des lieux comme le Divan puissent fonctionner et puis fonctionner sans qu'on ait la hantise de fermer, sans se dire pourvu que ça dure, on n'est jamais trop sûr. Même quand tu es content, que tu as une belle nouvelle, tu dis qu'est-ce qu'ils vont venir nous emmerder encore avec des permis ou avec des hausses de taxes ou avec c'est pas quoi.
I've been really, really aware of noise and tried to make sure I maintained, the noise levels to at least a minimum.
Le bruit est souvent causé pas par des résidents et pas non plus dans des bars de spectacle nécessairement. Parce que quand tu habites dans le coin, quand tu fais toujours ton petit truc, quand ton train-train quotidien, c'est dans le coin. Quand tu arrives sur le coin de la rue, quand tu arrives sur le coin Saint-Denis-Mont-Royal, t'es pas comme « Ouais, mais on boit de la bière! »
Sur le boulevard Saint-Laurent, peut-être en particulier, c'est parce que je connais pas les chiffres ailleurs là, mais les loyers sont quand même assez élevés, les taxes sont énormes. Puis au-delà de ça, c'est d'arriver à concilier la gestion du bar, puis la gestion des spectacles. Parce qu'à chaque fois qu'on ouvre, on a une dépense, quoi. Donc vu qu'aussi on met une équipe là-dessus pour chaque show, tout ça mêlé fait que c'est pas évident.
The city, I think, also doesn't really understand the importance of venues our size. Okay. They don't really understand that most bands start playing at these types of venues, you know. City, I don't think really understands that. I think they think that bands just are born and then all of a sudden they're playing, you know, in a metropolis. You know? And it's kind of strange.
So behind me is the Quartier du Spectacle that the city built for millions of dollars so they could house festivals, and ostensibly this is where we're supposed to be creative. This is it. So no more small venues, but you know, if you're really lucky, you might get booked into the jazz festival and play here. So this is what millions of tax dollars have given us. This is all closed down during the summer for the Francophonie and for the jazz festival. It's beautiful, isn't it? Inspires you to creativity, doesn't it?
À proprement dit, moi je trouve que l'idée est bonne, mais on dirait qu'elle est juste faite pour des événements exclusifs.
It's like a push and pull between what institutions want to do also. Like as soon as there's a little bit of some cool stuff coming from the counterculture, you know, the government wants to take advantage of it and put on shows at Place des Spectacles and, you know, wherever. And meantime, they're shutting down venues.
You take away music out of a neighborhood and try to move it somewhere else, so much suffers in that neighborhood. You lose people going to cafes or restaurants or something before the show, you know, now aren't going there because they have to be down in this one specific area.
Toi ou moi, là, ou nous, là, en tant que touristes, si on va dans une ville comme Montréal, puis tu regardes un peu ton guide touristique, tu dis, il y a un quartier des spectacles. Ça doit être trippant, ça. Tu sais, moi j'y vais, je vais aller faire un tour. Et tu sais, si je me pointe là, il me semble que ça ne me correspond pas du tout.
Si tu viens rester au coin de Saint-Laurent, Mont-Royal, puis tu veux pas de bruit, ben tu sais, déménage en banlieue, là. Je veux dire.
Quand les petits spots disparaissent, il reste pas grand-chose, là. Pour, si les petits spots, je parle des petits bars, si ça disparaît, c'est là ce que tu peux te faire connaître pour pas cher aussi, tu sais. Puis s'il y a personne qui est intéressé en tant que petit band d'être dans une grosse salle, là.
You know, that was like Arcade Fire playing at like Casa del Popolo, and like a couple of years ago, Casa, you know, was getting shut down for noise complaints for not having the right zoning, like liquor license. They had to like, and it was getting eaten up by this whole clampdown on venues. And then like, you know, last year you have Arcade Fire playing a free show downtown, you know, for a huge, massive group of people, like huge sponsorships, a big free downtown show, and everyone's like, wow, Montreal, I love it. It's great. And it's like, yeah, meanwhile, you're trying to suffocate the place where these guys came from.
Ships never
for anyone moving to Montreal, if you're gonna move to Saint Laurent, Saint Denis, or a park, don't make noise complaints.
Yeah,
because that's where you're living.
Yeah.
So, this is the Barfly, very near and dear to my heart. Just about every rock band in town has played here or has gotten their start here. Long time ago, it used to be a place called the G Sharp, run by this guy Gary Sharp, and it was more of a blues jazz venue. Still got plenty of blues and jazz, but Barfly itself is a little more, shall we say, roughshod. You know, very in love with the Canadians games, very in love with punk music, and as unpretentious as it gets on the main.
I think it's healthy for our scene in a way. Like, I mean, this sort of urbanization and gentrification is, well, it's a reality. We're facing it. It's a reality. We can complain about it, but it's a reality. I think it's good. Like, if that entire power base is going to weaken, and then, you know, there's going to be more crowds in other neighborhoods, more room for other promotion companies to start, more room for other bands to start, more room for new things to grow out of the ashes of the old. I think it's great. Change is a very important part of the artistic process, not just on an individual level, but for a community in general as well, you know?
You know when it's happening, when all of a sudden, who are these fucking people? And when the tourists show up, you know, it's time to move on.
One thing that was kind of sad as well, though, like about 2.5 years ago, there was a huge surge in DIY venues and lofts and everything, and it was like really promising. It reminded us of like the late 90s Montreal, mid to late 90s Montreal. That's all it was, right? Punk shows and loft shows and like house parties, and they just started to get shut down like left and right super quickly, and it kind of just cut the legs off the whole movement.
I think there needs to be a lot more home shows, a lot more lofts, a lot more illegal places, because that's kind of where the energy is.
Moi je déteste les chansons qui répètent la même phrase. Je déteste les chansons qui répètent la même phrase. Je déteste les chansons qui répètent la même phrase. Je déteste les chansons qui répètent la même phrase.
Des spectacles dans des appartements ou des sous-sols ou quoi que ce soit, l'environnement, tu sais, juste tu disais, on est influencé, je pense, par l'environnement dans lequel on joue. Quand c'est nouveau, puis c'est vraiment, c'est pas fait pour c'est pas une salle du tout pour ça. Là. C'est ça qui en tout cas moi, qui m'intéresse le plus.
Ici, c'est là où on fait les shows rock. Fait que les groupes s'installent là, puis les gens trashent ici. Ça donne sur le salon. Puis normalement, j'installe les DJ ici. Fait qu'ici, il y a des DJ pour que les gens dansent. La salle de bain, dans laquelle il y a eu le show dont je parlais. Fait que là, c'était très drôle parce que Yann était dans le bain avec ses bottes de pluie. Puis il y avait un rideau transparent, mais qu'on avait peinturé. La cuisine, qui fait office de cuisine. Généralement, ouais, c'est ça, les gens viennent fumer plutôt ici, là. Après ça, c'est notre aile secrète. Non, mais... Ici, il y a 2 chambres. Puis dans le fond, on a un truc de rangement. Mais bon, il y a une chambre là. Puis ici, c'est l'isoloir. C'est ma chambre. C'est ici qu'on a des artistes noise qui jouent souvent.
Moi, je lance un appel aussi encore. Il n'y en a pas assez de ça à Montréal. En fait, je pense que le problème, c'est que c'est déjà difficile de trouver un endroit où pratiquer. Ça doit être difficile de trouver un endroit où faire des spectacles dans un sous-sol ou whatever, un endroit où ça coûte rien.
On roule, j'enfume la foule, parfume la fête, et tes faux gars old school, je les fous par la fenêtre.
Il y a des endroits où tu t'en vas en petite gang, triper, prendre ta bière, puis tout. Mais ici, j'ai l'impression que c'est plus un truc où tout le monde construit tout ensemble. Je commence à parler à des amis, à leur demander si ça leur tente de jouer, de faire un projet. J'aime bien qu'ils fassent des projets qu'ils font pas souvent, ou je sais pas quoi. Puis que ça devient, c'est plus mon party, c'est le party de tout le monde.
On enchaîne les pilons, du prologue à l'épilogue.
Ben on joue ce soir dans la pièce là.
Ok, vous faites quoi?
On est un groupe de noise, percussion, noise africaine.
Dans une rue, puis où il y a un loft, peu importe, puis t'entends un band qui joue, il me semble c'est quelque chose que tu dis que malgré tout que ça va peut-être être de plus en plus rare, parce qu'on vit quand même dans une société de plus en plus réglementée, quoi.
Kids need to be less worried about being given tickets by the cops. You know, there's more ways around, you know, getting stopped by the cops. You know, there's tons of things that you can do, and you don't have to sell alcohol during a show if you don't want to sell it. You know, it's not like you have to be 100% illegal.
Je faisais une blague avec la police. Bonne blague.
Bonne blague, faut arrêter.
Et là, il y avait vraiment beaucoup trop de gens, puis c'était fou, là. C'était impossible de monter dans l'appart, tu sais. On deal juste en étant correct avec la police, tu sais. Nous autres, on s'est quand même fait un peu... on a été surpris quand même par le nombre de personnes et tout ça, tu sais. Quand on dit ça à la police, fait on a un party, puis ça a débordé, puis on est désolé, tu sais. Puis ils nous ont demandé d'évacuer, on l'a fait, tu sais, on n'a pas niaisé.
Tout le monde doit sortir maintenant! On se dirige vers la sortie en bas!
Ça, les pompiers sont en bas là, avec la police.
There's something about touring in the States that's a little different from Canada because America might have like a little stronger of a individualist mentality. It's like, I'm doing what I want right now. It's not disturbing anybody. I'm not going to let you do that. And that's why like the DIY scene thrives in the States.
Government's been calling, there's a message on my phone. Said, where did you run to? Why'd you leave us alone? I said, if you're squeezing me, you're squeezing blood from a stone. You can squeeze it all you want. You'll get nothing in return. One day last night, garbage trucks went digging through my trash. You'll get nothing in return.
How do you start? You say, when do we want... You give yourself at least, you know, a good 4 months lead time, okay, to make sure. Don't say, I want to tour next month, and then think you're going to be able to put together an effective tour. Chances are you won't, unless you're, like, really been doing it forever and you can plug yourself into whatever, you know, scene. Lowell, Mass is a very special place because, I mean, we love Walter and Marianne and the little space that they've made in the 119 gallery. But I mean, these people just like, they let us stay there. They lent us all the instruments we needed for the tour, knowing that we'd come back and drop them off in good shape. They're just full of joy and love. There's no weirdness, you know. And then like afterwards, after we play the show, you know, there's like you know, the Cambodians next door are having like a big just barbecue in the alleyway, and we're all eating.
This one, I have no idea. It's a good friend of ours. Shitty PV Bandit for $100.
Hey, we are that band called the Purple Scorpios, and the next song is about the box.
The box, which is
Here, by Melanie.
Oh, which song is it? Okay. Oh, this is so annoying.
Yeah, you know, Alston, it's a cool place because there's so many houses here, and then we're able to have shows. And a lot of the bands, they just own a house or they rent a house for the length of the lease and play shows, and everybody comes out, and it's very underground. It's not announced really. You have to know somebody to get there. I mean, there's so many underground shows going on all the time, every day of the week. There's a lot in houses like this in the basement, and there's some artist spaces. You know, people rent out the space in abandoned warehouses that have been converted to lofts into artist spaces. It's more fun to go to these shows than to go to bars and to have to pay the $10 cover. A lot of these guys are really cool. They ask you for a donation. You know, you can give $1 if you have it, like I did tonight. These places, like I told you, they have permits, so you can get a permit to play and have a show in a house. And as long as it's over by 11 or 12, you're good to go. Police are showing up right now. Yeah. Okay. We'll handle it.
Keep in mind that you want to play bigger cities like Philadelphia, New York, Boston during the weekdays, because they're bigger cities, more population, more chances that people are going to come to see you on an off day like a Monday or Tuesday. And keep your Fridays and Saturdays, and Thursday, Friday, Saturday, keep those for like smaller cities, because that's generally when people are going out and that's when things are happening.
Civic pride out beaming wide in neighborhood streets. It's the right time in Worcester, the right. And we thank you for caring about Worcester the way we do.
My name is Jamie Buckmaster. The band is the Terribles.
Ça c'est super fat.
Well, we probably have to do we're gonna have to give it a crunch.
If places like this didn't exist, the world would be a shitty place, because everyone would have to fucking play at shitty bars. It would suck. No one would have a good time. Because Worcester's so small compared to some other cities, we're pretty much really interested in having fun, having a good time.
You know, in Canada, we're like bylawed to death, right? We want everything to be legitimate, and by legitimate we mean in a bar. And I can't tell you how depressing it is to tour in bars.
The schlep.
Is this one of those? Oh, no, it's not.
Good.
je te dirais à soir, on va se pogner un bon petit motel, là. Puis je vais dormir en genre de position fétale, avec à terre, genre peut-être, tu te bats. Puis, tu sais, demander, t'es tellement fatigué que sûrement tu sais, tu dors bien.
Look out there, ask people, ask bands. You like a band? Just cold call them, you know? Like, hit them up on Facebook or something and just say, hey, this is my band. You guys sound really cool. Like, can you recommend any like spaces or anybody to hit up, or do you want to do a show together? You know, don't be afraid, because a lot of people, that's how it works.
I'm Daniel Schleifer. I play bass in Downtown Boys, and I play the tuba in the What Cheer Brigade. There aren't very many all ages spaces in Providence. I feel like it's very important to have spaces where people can perform that feel kind of lawless.
All those big festivals, you can all go fuck yourselves. Am I gonna play at South by Southwest? Like, what does that even fucking mean? You know what you're missing? You're missing all those little basements and warehouses and old churches and what have you, all the way along the way, where people are dying to have a band from elsewhere come and play and entertain them. You know, you're fucking getting older day by day, you know? And, like, in the end, like, let's say you cross the magical threshold of 27. Bullshit, by the way. Like, just because some assholes OD'd at 27 doesn't mean that you're gonna, oh my god, I'm gonna die before I'm 27. Anyway, like, once you cross over that and you're, like, 34, right? Your band is still playing basements. You're still playing warehouses. Do you think you're a failure? Ask yourself that, you know? Like, what is a failed musician? You're playing music.
I wanted to be a musician. I was, like, enamored with the whole concept of, like, playing in a band and being in a van and touring and doing all that shit.
Je sais pas trop que je me souviens plus trop de la question, on dirait que j'étais un peu dans l'une en même.
Je sais. Vas-y, réponds. Qu'est-ce que je veux? Je veux juste comme m'accomplir puis être bien puis me défouler. Puis comme Si ça marche, tant mieux. Si ça marche pas, ben moi je fais de la musique avec mes amis, puis je voyage, puis c'est correct pour moi, là, tu sais ça.
Music has to be pleasurable. It has to make you happy when you're doing it, or if not happy, it has to stir up emotions in you.
Ben moi j'ai besoin de créer. J'ai toujours eu besoin de ça. C'est comme je consomme beaucoup de musique, puis j'ai toujours quelque chose que j'entends pas, que j'aimerais entendre, que je me dois d'essayer de faire.
The fact that if you put your mind to do something, you can do it. You don't sit around and bitch about it.
Yeah, I think this city sort of shaped my musicality over the last 5 years for sure.
The kind of lifestyle you're able to have here that gives you kind of a lot of time, especially as a creative person. You can work part-time and then just have a lot of time to hang out, to create, to write.
To me, success is finishing a song, because we enjoy the creative process of it. We still do to this day. We still get along. That's a rarity, apparently. You know, most marriages don't last this long. You know.
You know, the people that I hang out with and I made friends with, it's all been through playing music. You know, I live with my girlfriend, and she came to a show. That's how I first met her. You know.
Le jour où je vais me dire, ah, fuck, faut que j'arrête, je suis plus capable, je vais être vraiment en deuil.
You know, I'm always interested to see what's coming up next. You know, who's pissed off, who's got a guitar. You know? Yeah, well, Kurt Cobain called it. Here we are now, entertaining us, and that's been going on forever.
DIY, motherfuckers. Like,